Right, I've entitled this Toxic Mathematics because I want to highlight the dangers of the current system of mathematics in a certain way. And first, I will introduce myself. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are in the cyber universe. Is Mr. Brian Vartin English Firalisha Kuri Lu Makiananaira. My name is Dr. Brian George Martin McHenry, and I'm coming to you from Tralee, County Kerry in Ireland, which also happens to be the home constituency of our Minister for Education, Norma Foley. And I mention that because hopefully I will send this to her and she will actually pay some attention to it. Now, what is toxic mathematics, or why is mathematics toxic? Well, toxic is something that is bad for you, and mathematics as it is currently formulated is bad, most likely for the human physiology, definitely for the mind, and definitely for our children. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out that something serious has happened within the whole field of mathematics, mathematical education, in the last 20 to 30 years. And I know what that is, and I know what the resolution is. And the cause of this problem is the introduction and the widespread use of calculators. I have been a vehement opponent of calculators for the past 20 to 30 years. They are unnecessary, they're dangerous, and what they do is they prevent the students from actually using their mind. Students become good at entering formulas, maybe. I was talking with a gentleman yesterday in the charity shop that I work in on a Saturday morning. That's Action Lesotho in the Russell Arcade in Tralee. And this man came in, he was very tall, and he asked about books and whatever else, and he wasn't looking to buy a book, but he bought himself a little gift for himself. It's these covered books that we have, and you make a donation for those. But he bought one of those, and he was browsing around, and we started talking, and he turned out to be the son of the last Irish teacher that I had, Ty Crowley's son, Michal O'Crooley. And we were talking, and I was asking him what he was doing or what he had done, and we chatted about school, and we chatted about this, that, and the other. But he said that students or young accountants, he was talking about accountancy in particular, young accountants, they use spreadsheets, but they have no idea of the formulas that they're using. They have no creativity within the usage of spreadsheets. And we can talk about the problems of education. There should be no problems in education. Education, especially in the field of computation, is the first book of knowledge. And problems in education are being caused by the educational system. They are being caused by a lack of knowledge as to how to enliven the totality of knowledge within the minds of the students. And there are a number of modalities which are used to do this. One, of course, is meditation. And I'm a great proponent of transcendental meditation in particular. There are other forms of meditation which I have no experience of. One in particular being mindfulness. But I think the mindfulness has a lot to do with the mind, whereas transcendental meditation has got to do with consciousness, which underlies the mind. So it's a deeper form of meditation, and therefore more powerful, and therefore I would recommend it. There's also heartfulness, which is quite useful for certain things, the emotions and the getting to grips with the totality of knowledge. But anyway, back to mathematics. Why is mathematics toxic? Mathematics is toxic because it is incomplete. It is searching around using mathematical logic for a certain element of truth. And it finds some things. And that is the honest truth. It finds a small little bit of knowledge and it claims that this is the totality. But mathematics has become so abstract. It has become so bloody abstract. And there is a notion among academic mathematicians, whom I have very little time for at the moment, that we must all perform the same functions. We must all have the same ability within the field of mathematical education. And that is not true at all. That's my phone. I'll pick it up in a minute. And it's not true at all that we all need to have the same. As this Mihal said to me yesterday, there's some guys who are good at carpentry. There are other guys who are good at mathematical formulas. We don't all have the same ability or the same needs. And yet in our educational system, everyone is being tarred with the same brush. And it is not working. Children are going through 14 years of education, thereabouts, and they come out not being able to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Quite recently, I went to get a takeaway curry in a shop or a restaurant, a takeaway restaurant in Tralee, and I gave the lady €12.50. Sorry, the curry cost €12.50. I gave 50 cents change, and I gave a €50 note when I had €50 in those days. And she pulled out a calculator to subtract 12 from 50, and I was shocked. I said nothing, and I went away, and the curry was nice. But what has happened to our education system that someone working in a professional establishment cannot subtract 12 from 50? And what happens if the battery runs out? Or what happens if there's a dispute as to the price? Now, that particular person is a product either of the Irish education system or of an education system overseas. It doesn't matter. The fact that you can't subtract 12 from 50 is appalling, because our minds are geared towards enjoying computation. And notice that I make a difference between mathematics, toxic mathematics, and computation. Toxic mathematics is mathematics driven by logic, whereas computation is initially arithmetic driven by joy, driven by excitement, driven by discovery. All of these things which mathematicians are saying that, we can solve these things. They cannot. Not as it is currently structured. Now, does that mean that we need to throw out toxic mathematics? No. We need to enhance it. We need to cure it of toxicity. We need to teach teachers how to teach, not be reliant on calculators, which are unnecessary, but be reliant on joy, be reliant on surprise element of the mind, be reliant on Vedic mathematics, which includes 16 main word formulas, and I think it's 22 minor word formulas. use those formulas to enliven the totality of knowledge within the mind. Practice transcendental meditation so as to get to the deepest level of consciousness, and then the toxicity in mathematics will be cured. But this thing of introducing artificial intelligence, and I can see a day, and I warn the educational authorities. I already warned the educational authorities when Micheál Martin was Minister for Education way back in 1997. And I said if the education system continued in the way in which it was going, then the education system was in serious trouble. And the education system is in serious trouble. That's 27 years later. It has been in serious trouble for the past number of decades, but it's getting worse. I won't even talk about the teaching of Irish, which is beyond the beyonds in badness. Sin é gur maithagad agus slán.